Hello everyone. I'm going to try to make a short flight here to demonstrate an Autoland at the Copenhagen airport. EKCH. EKCH is the ICAO code. And I will be taking off from an airport relatively nearby, so it's going to be a low and slow flight with a Boeing 737-800, the Zibo mod for X-plane. And I'm going to show you how to make a cold takeoff, cold start, and everything that's involved. And you're probably going to see a lot of errors. I'm kind of new to this. I've flown ultralights in real life, but that's not the same thing as flying these type of airplanes. So what do we have? We have the little iPad here on the left hand side where you can do various things. To make it easy, I've decided I'm gonna be sitting right at the end of the beginning of the runway 32, and we're gonna connect the power, the ground power. We're gonna do some stuff here to get the airplane going, and that is turning the battery switch on. We're gonna do some settings here. I don't know, but I always have to do them. It doesn't save them, but the hardware, we need to make this to yaw, otherwise I don't have any control of the nose wheel, not much anyways. We're gonna turn on the line time for the system that checks our location to short, so it goes a little bit faster. And we're gonna go up here. Let's see. We'll turn these on to none. I've been watching various YouTube videos on how to do this, so it's like it's a mix of everything that I learned. And I'm not doing the checklist in the right order, but I'm just turning the switches that need to be turned. Okay, so this indicates that we need to switch over to the ground power. So forgot to do that. Anyways, the ground power is on, so the ground power unit is powering the airplane, so we're not running off batteries. And so let's start with the switches here. We turn on the position system so the airplane knows where it is. It takes some time for it to locate, but we leave that on like that. We turn on the yaw damper. I'll just go through this. I'm probably missing a lot of stuff, and I'm turning on all fuel pumps because they're going to be on anyway, so it's no big deal. It's just a simulator right now, and we're gonna set this APU bleed on. I'm gonna turn on the APU. It takes a little bit for it to start up, but when it has started, we can switch over the power from the APU. And I don't know if I got it started. Let's try again. Here we go. It takes a while. Meanwhile, we can check the other stuff here. We'll turn on the dome light to dim. We go down here on the list and look. Let's see how much power. Let's see what we else have here. Let's see. No. Try it again. There we go. Now the APU is starting, and you can see the exhaust gas temperature here. APU is the small turbine engine in the rear of this airplane. You can see it in the tail. Let's see if I can show it to you. So this is the airplane, and right back here is the APU. So that gives the airplane power and air to start the main engines. Okay, so let's see. We have APU power, so we can switch over to that. The APU is now powering the airplane, and that means we can disconnect the ground power unit. It's right here. Now disconnected, and we can start put luggage in the airplane. Next things we need to do is yeah, maybe we need to start engines. Let's see, we need to check that we have APU bleed air from the APU to start the main engines, and we'll start them by each engine by turning this to ground. We look on these meters here on the bottom screen. You can see when it comes up to 20, 25, we can yeah, make sure the parking brake is set. It is, yeah. Now we can give this engine some fuel. I'm kind of doing it in the wrong order. I should program the FMC first, but it doesn't take that long. So now we're gonna do the next, the left engine. And we can see up here the N1 speed. It's like the front compressor, the fan, the RPM, and the exhaust gas temperature. So it looks good. So now we can give the left engine some fuel. It looks good. It's starting up. And what we can do next is, let me check here. I'm going to switch them over to continuous mode right away. I'm totally doing it in the wrong order. I just want to show you all the stuff you need to do. So, alright, now we can turn on, let the engines power the airplane. So that means we can turn off the APU. We can turn on the air conditioning. We set this to auto. It's the pressurization valve that opens and closes to keep the right air pressure inside the airplane. We're not going to fly specifically high, but anyways, I'm going to show you now the FMC stuff here. This is it's like a computer, and you put in your like departure and destination in here and your waypoints, and it will calculate your altitude and everything. But first we need to tell it where we're located. So I'll clear this message and this message, and I go into the FMC and I click position in it, and then I'll go on to the next. Let me see. I'll put in the airport first. It doesn't. To the airport. Yeah, and then we'll go to the next page. I'll grab that. That's our GPS position. Put that in. Let's see. Let's check that we are in the right place. 17.5. Okay. Do this. Anyways, let's go to the route. So we can see that our departure airport is already filled in. Click that. I will go. I need to make sure. I think this was runway 32. Yeah. So let's enter the runway. Okay, and destination EKCH. That's Kastrup Airport in outside Copenhagen. flight number, I'll just put in 123, it doesn't really matter. And go to performance, so gross weight, I'll just do, let's say, you can go fuel weight and balance. Fuel, we definitely don't need that much fuel. I'm just gonna go with 5. Oh, sorry, we need to change something here. We need to change this to a metric. I forgot to do that, but we do that, and we can go in and weight and balance. Fuel, we need to change that to, well, that's a lot of fuel, but rather be safe than sorry. Okay, so this is our takeoff weight, 65.2 tons, and you can just go click here. Comes right in. I'll put 1 ton for fuel, and cost index, I'll just 55. Cruise, wind, doesn't really matter, I'll just put in. I mean, of course it matters, but not for this test. And I'm gonna wait with the altitude. Let's do the route first. Go route. Oh, I guess I cannot. So cruise altitude, I would be 6,000 feet. All right. Execute. I'll just go as I said, there's gonna be a lot of mistakes here, but I just want to show you the Autoland. 22 degrees. Oh, clear it. 22 degrees. There, 20 degrees. Take off. We need to go with, I'll go with 10 degrees of flaps this time. These are our speeds. There we go. And then we'll go back to route. Why is it not working this page? Oh, yeah. So for this, I have direct to SVD. This is the top one I should pick. Go that. And then we need to go to, yeah, we can actually go to departure arrival. We need to pick 22 left, and we need to pick this one, this star. It's called a star. Then I can go back to route, and then we can activate it. And then we go legs, and then we can look at this, and then I can set this to plan, and then we can step through them. And then we can see each part of the, yeah, it looks good. Nothing weird here. As you can see, we have the speeds, we have the altitudes here. Alright, so we'll go back to map mode. Okay, and we know, let's see if we missed anything. Well, it's good to go through this. And we have everything here. CJ we need to put in, which is basically this number here, 24.1%, and you can just click this button and it will tell you the trim. The trim is 3.64, and this is trim for the airplane, so we'll trim it down some. About there. That's fine. Let's see what else we have here. director, the autopilot, on both sides. And here you can see I put in the course of the runway we're landing on. Supposing we need to do that, I'll go at 6,000 feet here, and then we're going to look at, this is 146, so I put, should be 146 here. Okay, and we're at runway 32. I'll just, okay, you can arm the auto throttle. D-nav we can turn on, L-nav doesn't work. In the tutorial I watched it worked, but I'll turn it on after we take off. So let's go and look what else we need to do. We need to, let's turn on some, oops, landing lights, these lights, taxi, I don't know, we'll leave that off. Logo on, and collision.
Flight attendant spare for takeoff, please.
There we go. I always set this to altitude we're supposed to fly.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
But I guess we really don't need a pressure cabin at this low altitude. And we'll see that we haven't missed anything. I'll turn on these extra fuel pumps. We'll go like that. Tell them to turn on the seat belts. This is off. I always turn. We're flying at low altitude, it's not going to be cold, but just to make sure you don't get like fog, ice on the window, just leave them on. Otherwise, if you fly high, it will make your windows go like gray and you can't see through them. This I think we're almost ready to go now. We need to we'll set the flaps. This is the flaps indicator. So we'll just go and set them to 10 degrees. The reason I'm setting them to 10 degrees is that usually this runway is just long enough for me to be able to take off, so giving a little bit more flaps. And let's see, that's good. Let's go back here. Just, it's always good to make sure you haven't missed anything, because when you do miss something, it's usually too late to fix it. Everything. Yeah, I probably missed something, but we'll go ahead and we're gonna take off. So I don't know. This is good view. All right, let's go and see what happens. So release the brake, parking brake. I'll give it some throttle. here.
$400.
Retract the flaps. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn on the autopilot. I press command. Auto throttle is engaged.
1,000.
And now it's probably going to complain over the bank angle, but we'll see. So the gears are retracted, the flaps are retracted. Everything else, we'll leave everything on because we're going to land in a couple of minutes anyway. So yeah, looks good. So you can see here that this thing is now, the autopilot is trying to get us in on course for the airport, and you can see that we're flying. Target speed is 250 knots, and we're going to fly at 6,000. We can look at the legs here.
1,000 to go.
I think I did a mistake here setting the altitude to... No, I did. Yeah, I did. So it's going to be at 10,000 feet, but I'll leave it here for now. It's just a short flight, and we'll see what happens. This is the outside view, really nice. This is Denmark, but you can see on the other side of the water. Pull up the map by pressing it. So this is us, we're flying here. This is the water, this is Denmark, and we'll see how it goes. And I think that's the airport we see in the distance here. Turn this down to 1,800 feet so we can intercept the glide slope localizer thing on the airport. What will happen is that what we need to do is we need to activate when we get closer, and you will see the little diamonds here. We will activate the second autopilot. That should take care of it, the auto landing. Here we can see what speed we need to have when we land, and we will select this when we have the right amount of flaps out. If I'm not mistaken, this is a town called Helsingborg in the southern part of Sweden. It's really nice. It's really close to Denmark. Oh, that's the airport over there. It's a big international airport, has really long runways, and when you come in for landing, usually you come in over the water. So let's see if this plane will land without me touching any of the flight controls. This is so different from flying ultralights, because ultralights are really slow, most of them, not all, but they're really slow. You usually have a GPS. Some of them have autopilots, but it's not very common. Not the one I flew. It did not have an autopilot, but this is really challenging. I've been practicing this for a few weeks now, and eventually I will, hope to become better. We'll ask my pilot friend who flies the Airbus, so-called A321, I think it is. You should know how to fly this also. So. Anyways, we're looking like we're going into some clouds here. This matches real weather, and today we had a lot of thunderstorms, and yeah, look at that, lightning. Oops, what happened? I don't know. Check here. Looks like we're like flying into a real bad thunderstorm. I can turn this thing on. Let's see. We'll turn this to weather. See if it works. Yeah, you can see the weather here. Let's hope we'll survive. This is kind of, I did not expect this. This is really bad. If you notice the turbulence, I bet the passengers would be screaming like crazy now. Yeah, it looks like we're right on speed, and it's flying. So it's actually quite good to practice when it's this kind of weather. You will notice it's more fun than flying when it's clear, especially when you're doing Autoland. So let's see, we have the right speed. It's decreasing the altitude here. Oh, you can see the autopilot increasing the throttle here, the power. Usually it comes up if we're coming in too fast and it can't decrease the altitude. It will say we need to add drag. And I think this is the last turn before we come in on the runway. So I'm gonna give it some drag by extending the speed brakes. Okay, we're out of the cloud. Oh, it's still raining. So windshield wipers, where are they? Turn them on. Oh, a little bit higher. Oops, wrong switch. See, that's why I'm not a pilot for real anymore. Let's see, we're at what altitude? Oh, I need to check one thing. Yeah, we're on the right frequencies. I forgot to tell you that you need to have the right frequencies. If not, yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on the second autopilot. I'm gonna hit, oops, did not work. Go back, hit approach. And then do the second autopilot. Hope it works now. Yep. Let's see if we got any message. We'll give it some flaps. and we can look here, and we can see this indicates that we're on the right track. This is that we are a little bit too high. Oh, it's turbulence. Maybe it wasn't a good day for flying, but we'll see. Need some more flaps to get some more lower speed. Oops, look at the lighting. Oops. Are we descending? Yes, we are. Looks like we're right on track.
2,500.
I'll give it some more flaps. We need to be on 15 degrees. We are. Then we'll select that. Give it some more flaps. 30. Lower the speed. That was sad. Oh, looks like we're coming in too high. Yeah, you can see land 3 coming up now means that we're on the Autoland here. The speed breaks out still. 40 degrees of flaps.
1,000.
1,000 feet stabilized, Mr. Fletch, altitude
It
set.
doesn't look good, but we'll try. Maybe we'll survive. I need to lower the gear. It looks like we're high, but according to this, we're on the glide slope, so we'll see. So we need auto brakes on.
400.
So what's our speed? We can probably
300.
took in the speed brakes.
200.
Looks good. I'm not touching any of the flight controls.
100.
We're a little bit high, I guess.
50. 40. 30.
Yeah,
10.
going up. Yes. I reversed the engines.
knots.
And we survived, and this was water landing in really bad
We'll
weather.
be taxiing for the next few minutes, so please remain seated with
So,
your seatbelts fastened.
I
and
will
all
show you
items
the
stowed until
replay.
seatbelt sign is turned off. Please make sure you...
So let's see what it looked like.
2,500.
From the outside. Okay, so that was my attempt to try to show how to make an Autoland. This is far from perfect. I need to practice a lot of stuff, but we made it from the ESTA airport to Copenhagen EKCH airport in really bad weather, it showed up to be. But thanks for watching, and until next time, bye.